It's alright.
Oh my god!
Yo guys, what is up? Moxie here in our Borderlands 3 video, and today we're talking about the OLDRIDIAN SMG. This is a new SMG that came out of the Guns, Loves, and Tentacles DLC. It is a Hyperion SMG with some really crazy cool properties that I wanted to talk about today. Now, the reason that this SMG came to mind and that people have been recommending it to me is that I put out a build yesterday called Hyper Witch that is a hyper-focused Hyperion-based Phase Zerker Amara build that absolutely shreds. I didn't think that I was going to like it more than Ricochet Witch. I didn't think I was going to have more fun with Ricochet Witch. I didn't think it was going to feel more powerful than Ricochet Witch, but it really does. I'm really enjoying the build. A lot of people have been telling me it's my favorite, their favorite Amara build that I've made, which is really awesome to hear. I'm glad you guys like that build. If you haven't seen the build video yet or checked it out at all, there'll be a link up there and in the description to check out the Hyper Witch build. That is the build I'll be using for all of the gameplay today. But the OLDRIDIAN is a new Hyperion SMG, so I wanted to see if it would work well with this build, and it has some interesting mechanics that we could use with Amara that I didn't know about. I don't know if anyone's covered it, so today we're going to be talking about all those things. Now, if you learned anything new from the video, by the way, make sure to like, comment, and maybe hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. Appreciate that, guys. Let's get right into it. So the OLDRIDIAN can come in any element. It is a world drop. I farmed mine from Tom and Zam and Empowered Gron. Those are my two favorite DLC farms for weapons and gear. Now, when you reload, this weapon will switch elemental damage, even if it's a non-elemental weapon, which is really curious because it can drop in any element. So I wanted to know, if my SMG is fire, will I be doing fire and another element? Will the fire be matching? Will I get double elemental damage? How does this thing work? Does it work doing non-elemental damage with sustainment so that I could heal myself with a non-elemental weapon? And so the first thing I found out was that using a elemental version did not actually matter. So right now, my skill tree, not spec'd into anything. I'm not using my action skill. And we're on radiation. Now, even though this is a fire SMG, it won't do any fire damage. The next thing I learned about this weapon always switches elements in order, and it is in alphabetical order. So right now, that's corrosive. If I reload, it'll be cryo. And then if I reload again, we'll get fire. So it goes in order if you're ever curious about what element is coming next. But turns out that the elemental roll on this weapon doesn't actually impact the weapon at all, except for its base elemental damage. Now, from my experience in seeing these SMGs, it seems like the non-elemental version can drop in a higher base damage, and because it's a higher base damage, your elemental damages will be higher. So the weapon that you're going to be looking for with this is going to be a non-elemental OLDRIDIAN. Now, in terms of anointment, bonus ASE per mag is great. 100 ASE is great. Consecutive hits is great. I would probably go with a 100 ASE or different mags. This weapon doesn't like ricochet crazy like anything like the Hyper Focus. It feels really strong, but it doesn't feel as strong as the Hyper Focus. But if you don't have Hyper Focuses and you have one of these weapons, it's a great option. The next thing that I wanted to test was if I was using a fire one, would it do more damage with the fire element? The answer to that is no. So genuinely, the fact that it's an elemental roll doesn't really impact anything. So here we have 6663 as our damage. This one, reload, and this is our higher base damage non-elemental one, and we hit for more damage with fire. So look for a non-elemental. I believe Powerhouse is the highest damage prefix you could get, so Powerhouse OLDRIDIAN is what you're going to be looking for. Now, the next thing that's really crazy about this weapon is that it works with sustainment as a non-elemental weapon. There are very few, if not sure if any come to the top of my mind, that are non-elemental weapons that work with sustainment. If you didn't know, infusion doesn't work with sustainment, but using a non-elemental weapon with sustainment allows you to heal with this weapon just fine, which is really, really cool. Using infusion with this doesn't give any unexpected results. You'll always be doing whatever element you're infused into. This weapon, another cool thing, when you were using it on the Hyper Witch build, we're using an Old God that gives you elemental damage resistance, and while holding this, you're going to get reduced elemental damage. This is incoming damage. It doesn't actually reduce the damage you do. So you're already at pretty much 45% reduced elemental damage or resistances, which is really, really nice. And overall, I've been enjoying this SMG. It hits so strongly that the actual element that it is attuned to doesn't matter that much. Now, let's say you are very attached to the element that you're using. For example, with Moze, you can keep it pretty much locked on one element and force reload if you want to change, which is really cool. With Amara, Dread instantly reloads your weapon when you kill an enemy that's grasped, but it doesn't actually change your element, so you can stay on the same element with Dread. And when you're using Ties That Bind with Avatar, like you do in the Hyper Witch build, you basically keep this weapon on one element, and it's a super strong base hitting weapon. So overall, really strong choice for you guys if you're looking for a different weapon besides the Hyper Focus. It does not beat the Hyper Focus in bossing, mobbing, single target damage. Hyper Focus is going to win, in my opinion, especially with its interactions with indiscriminate and multiple projectiles. But this is a great other option that I wanted to talk about today. Now, the gameplay that you're seeing is me using this SMG. It kills everything very, very quickly. I tried taking off my shield and my grenade, so I was rocking 0 ASE anointments besides the one on my weapon, and just running without a shield and a grenade, so pretty much 100% reduced or less elemental damage, and this thing still was trucking pretty much any enemy. So it is really cool. It is a world drop, so Empowered Gron and Tom and Zane are my two favorites to farm for this thing. But I hope you guys learned something new from this video. Hope you enjoyed. Get out there and get yourself one of these, and go check out that Hyper Focus Witch build. It is crazy. It's so much fun. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!